guess you want to share how all of this has been impacting you so far with everything that's been going on?
Actually, I just got my apartment the day before, so I actually got a place to call home, and Friday after all this happened, they told us to stay here or we can evacuate, that everything was fine. So I stayed for the couple days, I had nowhere to go. Well, Sunday they came knocking on our door saying that we had to evacuate or they're coming back with body bags. And my chest was tight, my irritated eyes, my throat and everything, so I decided to go to the hospital, and I ended up getting acute bronchitis from chemical fumes.
And so at first they were telling you can stay if you want to, it should be fine?
Yes, to stay off the roads. That's the only thing they asked for, stay off the roads, that everything was okay while they cleaned it up.
Gotcha. And I guess what sort of symptoms were you feeling when all of this kind of started? You said you weren't feeling well and they were going to have to come in with body bags. I guess what have the symptoms been like for you?
The irritated eyes, the sore throat, the tightness of the chest, always trying to catch my breath, coughing, like I just can't get rid of it. I said I'm on the breathing inhaler. They actually at the hospital, they put me on a breathing machine. They put me on the oxygen. They gave me 3 types of steroids. They quarantined me, washed my clothes. Yeah.
And none of these are symptoms you ever had before any of this was going on?
I never had any problems with my breathing. I was healthy as a horse. I work outside. I'm constantly active, and I never had any problems like this. And it seems like never going away.
I guess where do you live in proximity to where all this happened as well? Are you real close by, or?
Yeah, actually, I'm in a couple buildings over. I was in the 1 mile radius.
In the 1 mile radius. Gotcha.
Yes.
And have other folks? You sounds like you just moved in. Did you have other folks also living with you with issues right now too?
Actually, I live by myself, but my neighbor, he has 3 young kids, and they're starting to symptoms, the rashes and everything, and the breathing. Yep. And like I said, he just had a brand new kid, and is not even a year old yet, and is already having problems.
Right. And have you tried reaching out to Norfolk Southern at all, going to the assistance center to try to get help from them? And if you have you had any success in doing any of that?
I actually asked them about my medical condition and all that, and they asked if I had Medicaid that was paying for it, and that was it. That's the only thing they were doing.
So they're not trying to, yeah.
Nope, don't even care. They didn't ask, what I was on, what happened, am I feeling any better? They just asked if I had someone paying for it.
Mm-hmm. So they're very concerned about the money, it seems, and I mean you can tell too by all the we're just hearing trains going by all day basically. Got to get those tracks back open to.
First day the evacuation was up, they're over there honking their horns, and it kind of scares this community. Like some of us, after this happened, there's a strategy, and you're down here going through our town laying on the horn, and our hairs are standing up on our backs thinking, is this going to happen again? Is it going to be worse this time? Is someone actually going to die? When is this going to stop?
Yeah. No, I mean it's a ridiculous that y'all are having to go through this, and they're still just kind of ripping through town and all day long. Again, I couldn't believe it. When we got into town the other night, first thing we saw was the train gates go down and a train come through town, and I was like,
not even 10 minutes for the evacuation to be up, they're already running.
Yeah.
How often do they come through?
A lot more now. It wasn't this as many, but I guess since they were backed up, they had to get their money back, so they're just running through.
Gotcha. And as far as your new apartment goes, I mean, are you actively trying to find a place elsewhere? Are you tied into a lease and kind of like just stuck, or?
Actually, I got funded by the government to actually help me with this place, okay. And I don't even call it home. I'm scared to death to come back here.
Right. Yeah.
Scared, like.
I don't blame you. Yeah.
I made this my home. I'm from Florida, born and raised in Florida, and I came here and I made this as my home. And it sucks that some people are scared to even be this home anymore. Right. Like a lot of people are selling, a lot of people are moving out, a lot of people are still in hotels, afraid to come back home.
Right. Yeah. I guess if there's anything you wish folks from outside of the area knew about what's going on here that maybe they're not hearing about, is there anything you'd want to share?
Don't drink the water. Don't. I mean, it's so bad, and they're saying that the water's fine and the air's fine, and you can see it's not. And it's not only here. These creeks and our lakes, they go everywhere. They go all the way to the Ohio River. So if you think that your water's fine, don't drink it. Right. Make sure you get tested first. What
do you think about the response from the any level of government at this point about what's happened here? Obviously, the federal government seemingly has waited a while. I hear Fume is like just kind of getting into town now, basically, or this week. What do you think of the kind of response from the government about all this?
I think because we're a small town, everyone's just like, we would just put it underneath the rug, and we didn't. We actually made our voice heard. We're not going to let this sit down. We're not going to be trampled on. We're not going to let this company take over our, our town and treat us like this and for nothing. And for them to be so late on this, I think it's crap. But I think more goes towards the transportation. I think they should be more stricter laws on inspections. What's going out on these trains, how much they weigh and how many carts are on it before they even get sent out. I think it's more on them than anyone, because like Norfolk and anyone, you keep getting away with it, they're going to keep doing it.
Absolutely. Hopefully we do see some new regulations come into place. Unfortunately, so far, I mean, it seems to me like if I were in that position, be like, oh, here's a couple easy new regulations we can put in right away that shouldn't even need any debate. But instead, I mean, there's been derailments since this has happened. Yeah. Fortunately, they haven't. Yeah, Detroit. There was one in Houston, Texas, Cleveland. I mean, they're happening frequently.
And it's the same railroad. Yeah. Same one. Yeah. Like I said, if they keep getting away with it, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
Were you here when it happened? When the
yes, I was actually at home cleaning.
You explained that day and then up until the evacuation?
Actually, I just got my apartment. I was cleaning, getting ready, to move my stuff in. When we heard loud commotions, we didn't have like a dump truck or something. We weren't too sure at first. And then we heard all about it because a bunch of people came in town, a bunch of, the fire people and everyone. Like, this town was crazy. I never seen so many people. And they said, oh, we had to wait till the next day, to see what actually they were fighting against. So they had like little, I don't know, floor walkers, like water sprinklers kind of like to put on there. The next day they went out there with their drones, and that's when they were like, hey, either you need to evacuate or you can stay home, but as long as you're not on the road. So for Saturday and the Sunday, and that's when they came and said, hey, now you really got to evacuate or we're coming back in body bags. So, I mean, you had it sitting here for 2 days thinking nothing, nothing's wrong and breathing in this air and everything. And here you're telling us to leave now.
Right. Yeah. You weren't here for the explosion, right? When they...
No one was. Yeah. They actually cut down all the roads, the exits, the entrance, every single one they cut out. Yeah. They had a National Guard here making sure, and if you got caught in your house, you would get arrested, and if you had kids, you would get arrested for that and child endangerment. And that was the whole town.